Hello and welcome to Decoding the New Economy. Today I'm at the offices of Encompass where I'm talking to co-founders Roger Carson and Wayne Johnson about a very interesting business journey. Hey Roger and Wayne, thank you very much for joining me today. So start off with, what does Encompass do?
Encompass is a visual-based technology which brings together third-party information on people, properties and companies. And the information that we bring together is regulatory information, and it's information that lawyers, bankers and accountants use every day to make commercial decisions, to give commercial advice, or to bind people to commercial contracts.
So it's things like due diligence and that, so you can check out the backgrounds of directors, the financial stability of the company, that sort of thing.
I think anything to do with financial transactions where people are lending money, or at the other end trying to find where money has gone to, whether that be a bank or whether that be a lawyer advising a bank or insolvency practice, need to be able to pull this information together from different sources and put them in a way that they can see the information quickly and get to where the critical pieces of information are, whether they be from many different sources, regulatory or otherwise, and that's what our product does. It pulls the information together and gives you that picture.
What sort of places do you get the information from?
Typically, as Roger said, the lawyers and banks are already buying this information, and it's about company structures from ASIC, it's about bankruptcy information from that registry, it's about land titles from the different states, verification information to make sure that people are known to electoral rolls or other bits and pieces. So many different sources, often government sources, some credit information about companies and background and payment histories, all brought together into one spot so you can get that complete picture.
Right, and what are your own backgrounds?
I've spent most of my career in technology. I worked for Accenture, originally Anderson Consulting. I worked for Unisys. I then worked for a small software company called Software Associates that Bain founded. I spent some time with BEA Systems. I spent a little bit of time out of the industry doing property work, but I think that fundamentally I'm an IT guy. I'm originally from Ireland, worked in the US, worked in South Africa, worked in Asia, and also now here in Australia.
As Roger said, we worked together in a software venture that I had earlier on, and we built some technology there which was used by banks and telecommunications companies in Australia and around the world. And Roger and I worked together in Asia for a number of years, and we also had distribution of the product in North America, and that was a great venture to have. And it was in the golden years of software development and the dot-com boom, and we both went into other ventures after that period of time.
So what was the reason for starting Encompass up?
Well, that's an interesting point, isn't it, I guess, Roger?
I think I alluded to it briefly when I mentioned that we went into a property venture.
Right.
The property venture that we went into was not a success. I think it's fair enough to say that. And one of the reasons that we started this company is that if we had known about the people and the properties and the companies involved on the other side of that property transaction, we probably would not have got involved in it. And like always, when you try to extract yourself from a given transaction that you get into, it's equally difficult to continue to find out who or what a person, property or company is that you're involved in. So the genesis of this technology really came about because we were involved in a commercial transaction. We didn't have the full picture. We couldn't get the full information quickly, and therefore we realized that there had to be a better way for people to be able to look at commercial transactions and get a complete picture, a full picture, to allow them to perhaps not make the mistakes that Wayne and I made a number of years ago.
So that's the pain point that you're hitting there.
Very costly mistake for us,
right?
And a lot of lessons learned. But as Roger said, had we have known now what we would have liked to know then, we wouldn't have gone into that. And so pulling the information together is one thing. And we went through the process of documentation which wasn't quite right, and other things which, had we have done the right due diligence or had the capability of doing the right due diligence, these little telltale signs would have stood out, and things would have perhaps caused us to look deeper or to look in different directions to make a more informed decision. And so really through that pain and significant financial loss, it brought us to a point of saying, well, we mustn't be the only people that have had this problem. what solutions are there out there to solve this problem. And so when we looked at it from a different angle, we realised that a lot of it is bring the information together and make it usable and simple to use. If you can't get this information easily, and it takes you relationships with lawyers or others to pull that information together, or your own legal advice takes a long while for them to pull this information together, then it's costly and you may miss things. And so that was really the genesis of how the product came about, through our own hard-earned real-world experiences.
So which markets are you looking at moving into next?
I spent a number of years working in Asia. Asia is a logical place for us to go.
Right.
Whilst it's small, it's a good starting point because it's close to Australia and we pretty much understand those markets. The major drive at the moment for us as a company is the UK. So we have a number of people working for us in the UK. We're close to completing and being able to launch our product in the UK market. So that's fundamentally where we believe our major effort will go into over the next 3 to 6 months. We chose the UK before the US because the UK is a halfway house between here and the US. But ultimately, we believe that the application for the technology and the use of the technology will be best served in the US market. I think one of the benefits of being older guys is that we understand that there's certain things that we don't know, and therefore we're taking our time specifically around the US market to get a little bit better informed, to do a little bit more research so that we can put our best foot forward, as it were, before we go into the real market or where the real game is to be played.
But imagine too that the UK or England, at least having that centralised databases rather than state-based regional databases, makes it a lot easier too.
That's correct. The regulatory environment there is very similar, so it's very easy to transfer the product there. But from the time we built this product, it was always designed to be an international product. It was never designed just to be an Australian solution.
Right.
And so we've engineered it from the ground up to be an international product. But to take those first steps, it's important you find those sweet spots, and therefore the UK represents that to us. And as you say, the US market, a lot bigger, more fragmented, and in fact our product really likes complexity. That makes it simpler. So the US is a great place for us to ultimately get to, but as Roger said, we need to do a lot more research on the right channels to market, because there's a whole level of distribution there that there isn't that just doesn't exist in other markets.
Right. So where do you see Encompass being in 5 years' time?
That's a great question. I think that we've always believed that with the right technology, with the right message, with the right partners and the right business model, the product has got the ability to permeate certain industry sectors. And in 5 years' time, it's a long way away for us. Our cycles are very much shorter in terms of planning than 5 years, but we believe that the product should be well and truly established in our key markets, US, UK, and with strong partnerships in place with those who already provide these facilities to banks, lawyers and other market sectors. So we just see growth from here.
So from that, I take it that you've got a reseller network as well as selling directly.
Yeah, that already lawyers and banks buy this information. They buy it from a number of different sources, and those organisations, companies and credit bureaus that provide that information, they're great partners for us, because their information is brought to life more through our product, and their customers like to consume their information through our product. So we've really got a lot to offer for both the current supplier and their current customers, and that's a great channel to market for us.
Right, so you don't see people like the reporting agencies and so on as being the competition then?
No, because they tend to provide one piece of information, very important, but it's really the combination, the relationship between the people and the property, or all the other aspects which really gives the insight, and that insight can only come from multiple sources, and that's part of the key to it.
Right.
I think one other thing that is important to note, you alluded to it earlier, Paul, when you talked about due diligence. And there is an aspect of due diligence that our product provides when someone's looking at an initial relationship or an initial loan or an initial matter. But as we go down the process, when we talk to the banks, they have to do a review every 3 months, every 6 months, every 12 months.
Yeah.
So we are finding that the real value that we're providing, whilst there's some value in the initial searching and the initial due diligence, The real true value of what we provide is during the life cycle of that loan or that matter or that case.
Yes.
Which means that there's a stickiness attached to this product, and there's significant value, because for every dollar they spend on data, they spend $10, $20, $30, $50 on reviewing that information. So if we can assist in that process, it means from a banker's point of view, the costs are reduced. It also means that if there is any change in the status of the loan, they're notified immediately, and therefore the value of the technology to a bank can be established and a true ROI can be created, as opposed to it's a new fancy sexy little tool. And that's really what we're trying to drive with the building of this product. And that's what Wayne alludes to when we're talking about the marketing message.
Yeah.
It's nice, people like it, it's engaging, but actually, more importantly, you can make money, you can save money, and it can add a lot of value directly to your bottom line by using the product in question.
Right. Now, it's not just bankers and accountants that have been using it too. You've had media using it for their research as well.
Interesting. We've had a wide group of people using it. The media, as you say, have used it. They've used it on a number of high-profile stories.
Yeah.
And finding connections that are not easily able to be found. You can buy reports that run to hundreds of pages,
Sure.
but down on page 422, there is a connection in an address to someone on another report. That's very hard to find. Our product brings that out immediately.
Right.
So we find that investigative reporters, journalists from a number of different sectors will use it. We've even found that corporates who are doing due diligence on their suppliers will use it. There's a whole range of uses for the product, not just simply for the financial transaction in a bank, although, as Roger said, the value there is quite significant.
Yeah. Well, Wayne and Roger, thank you very much for your time. It's a great overview of Encompass, and all the best with the expansion of the business.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul.